You were at the UF Miami game. Recruits everywhere. Tell me about the atmosphere pregame.
Pregame atmosphere was everything you've been told about the Swamp. It was perfect. The weather was, I mean, it wasn't great. It was 92 degrees and the humidity was about 1,000,000%. But that's what you want in an early season game at the Swamp. And, you know, it's interesting because all these recruits, a lot of them are from Florida. Right. So they're also being recruited by Miami. Right. And, you know, the crowd was going nuts. It was loud. It was very cool. It was everything you want in a 90,000 seat stadium. So those guys, you know, they want to see the atmosphere. They got the taste of it. Mm-hmm. Now, it got real quiet real fast. You know, by the middle of the second quarter, that crowd was out of the game. Miami was physically dominating Florida. Both lines of scrimmage, Miami was much better. And I would argue that Miami was probably better at every single position group than Florida, which if you're Billy Napier, you could, I guess, say, hey, we need you now. But at this point, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything he can say, because if they play a couple more games like that, he's not going to be there next year.
Let's talk about Miami. Cam, well, actually, let's talk about the new guys. Damian Martinez and Cam Ward. Are they as good as Build, in your opinion?
So Damian Martinez is definitely as good as Build. Cam Ward, I was wondering how good he'd be, because I watched him at Washington State. I knew about him at Incarnate Word, and I was wondering where he'd kind of land. And when he threw that interception early, I was like, uh-oh, that's the Washington State Cam Ward, because he would have these situations where, and Florida had clearly scouted him. They want, well, partially, they don't have much of a pass rush, and they knew it. But they would just rush 4, because if you watch Cam Ward at Washington State, if you cover well enough, he gets a little antsy if he has some time. And he'll get frustrated and he'll just kind of throw it up. And he did that once, and Shamar James intercepted it. But I thought he did a great job settling down after that and then realizing, okay, there are going to be some plays where everybody's covered. So I just got to make something happen, either make something happen with my legs or throw it away and live to fight another day. And I think he did that. And then it started to break open, because that offensive line was getting a good push up front. They were doing well in the run game with Damian Martinez and with Mark Fletcher Jr., who they had. Another guy that was interesting, I thought, Sam Brown, the Houston transfer receiver, he didn't do a lot as a receiver, but he had an unbelievable block that sprung Fletcher for I believe it was their second touchdown. And that was the one where it was like, uh-oh, this could go real bad real fast. And then they have the mental lapse where Montrell Johnson runs for the long touchdown for Florida. And then immediately Cam Ward comes back and boom, boom, boom down the field. And it was Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo had a kind of like mind meld connection. And that's for guys who didn't play together last year, that was pretty amazing.
How good is Xavier Restrepo? Like, we don't talk about him a lot in like the upper echelon of receivers, but every year he just comes up and puts together heck of a seasons. How do you rank him as far as in that upper echelon of receivers?
So he's not going to wow you physically like Tetroy McMillan at Arizona, or like Jeremiah Smith, who we saw for the first time at Ohio State, or Cam Coleman at Auburn. But he is going to get open. He is going to be very fast, and he's going to catch the ball. And all those things put together, you're going to gain yards. You're going to score touchdowns with this guy. So, you know, like T-Mac at Arizona is a freak. He averaged 30 yards a catch on Saturday night. Like, there are not many human beings like that. There's not guys like Luther Burden at Missouri. Like, they have some just God-given physical gifts that don't exist elsewhere in nature. Xavier Restrepo has just an incredible combination of traits that make him the perfect go-to receiver, though. The one that the quarterback just loves. And he's going to have a big year this year.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I saw him live last year, and what I noticed was his feet. I don't think people talk about how good his feet are. As far as like getting in and out of his breaks, the way even on double moves, he explodes every time on the second move. Like,
well, you know who was great at getting in and out of breaks and was just had otherworldly change of direction speed. And it's funny because everybody thought he was just like this try hard, is Hunter Renfrow. Like, Hunter Renfrow had, like, if you go back and look at his combine, his 40 time's not great. His cone drills are elite.
Right.
And people can't. And the thing about it, you think about how often are you running a go route versus something that requires you to put your foot in the ground and change directions.
Right.
Well, you're more often changing directions. And that's, if you do that faster than other humans do it, you're gaining seconds on them or fractions of a second on them that they can't catch up to you. And now you're open. And that's what Renfrow did. That's what Restrepo does. Like, his routes are perfect also. And that was another thing that Renfrow would do. Like, you could tell they practice them so much that, they know exactly whatever their offense says. Like, if their offense says, you push 7 and then you cut here, like, he pushes exactly 7 and he cuts here, and he's exactly where he needs to be when the quarterback throws the ball.
Everything is textbook until he gets the ball in his hands. And then he
makes some
right. Like, he's way shiftier.
And that's where the Renfrow comparisons has changed, because he's got that straight line speed and the ability to burst and get away from people. And you saw that there was a throw over the middle late in the game where you saw that from him. And I was really impressed. I was impressed with all of Miami's offensive line as well. And we kind of knew, like, Francis Mauigoa is a huge recruit, started as a true freshman. Jalen Rivers is his 5th year in the program, the left tackle. They went and got another, like, they had a transfer center last year from UCF. They lost, he went to the NFL. They got the center from Indiana. He did a great job. And I mean, Florida could not do anything in terms of pass rush. Nothing. And then Miami just wore them down with that push as the game went on in the run game. It was very impressive.